Hey guys, IcyGrey here, and this is going to be the second part of my collection series for my Xbox 360 collection. If you haven't seen part 1, I suggest you check that out first. There'll be a link in the description and there should be an annotation on the screen. So if you follow that, you'll go to part 1, and then from part 1 you can come back to part 2. So let's start this off then, and the first game we have here is Binary Domain. This is a sci-fi third-person shooter. Basically it's a bit like Terminator. You're against machines. You know, they're evil machines and they're trying to kill you, etc. So you're against them and you try and take them down. That's the whole point of the game. And it's an okay game. There are aspects that I haven't played because there's multiplayer, which has been turned off, I think. Or you just need co-op. And obviously I don't have anyone to play with, so I haven't done that. But the campaign-wise, campaign is pretty good. It's pretty engaging. And I'd probably give it maybe 3 out of 5. It's not the best in the world, but by far it's not the worst compared to Terminator Salvation, which is just terrible. So next up then we have Bioshock, and I've only played part of this. I haven't played all of it, and I've heard that Bioshock is an amazing series, but I just haven't got round to it. You know, I do have loads of time, but I also don't have loads of time as well. Like, doing these videos takes a good few hours to do for each one, so having that in mind, it's hard to actually get down and then get into a game. I normally just go online or just play Guitar Hero or something. So this steelbook is one of the standard ones. It's got the Xbox 360 Live at the top there, which kind of just ruins it a bit, I think. Gears of War have a couple of them as well. And it's also bent and bowed. I don't know if you can see that from the camera, because obviously I don't know what you can see, but it is bent right in the middle there, which is a bit unfortunate, but I bought it on eBay secondhand, so you can't really expect much. We have Bioshock 2 next, and considering I haven't finished Bioshock, I haven't started Bioshock 2 yet, but again, I will put a brief gameplay in the bottom corner, just so you can see what the game is like. And I'm gonna assume that it's gonna be pretty good, because it's following Bioshock, and you know, I haven't really heard anything bad about it. I've heard good things about both of them. So I can only assume that it's good, but I can't really say for definite whether it's good or bad. But I can say that Bioshock Infinite is an amazing game that you should pick up, and that's because I actually started with this. I bought Bioshock Infinite first. I completed this when I was supposed to be doing my exams in my first year of university, in my first term, and I picked up Bioshock and Bioshock 2 afterwards, and I just haven't got around to playing them since then, so that's like 2 years ago. And I just haven't got around to playing them. But Bioshock Infinite is a great game. I don't think the stories are too interlinked with Bioshock and Bioshock 2. I think it's just a standalone with like some Easter eggs. Don't quote me on that though. But this is a great game and a great start for anyone looking to go into the Bioshock series if they don't want to go back to maybe older graphics or anything like that. So this is another Japanese arcade game similar to Akai Katana. And this one is BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, and this is a 2D fighter, so something like Mortal Kombat or Tekken or Virtua Fighter or what have you. And I haven't played this too much. I keep saying and quite a bit, but you know, whatever. But I nearly did it again. But this is a fighter, and I'm not particularly good at fighters, so I didn't really play it that much. I bought this online. I didn't realise it was a fighter at the time, even though it said voted best fighting game of the year by IGN, 9.4 out of 10, which I find that hard to believe, but if you're a good fighter, if you're good at fighting games, you might like that. Next up, another game buying online. I buy a lot from CEX, which you can see here. This is Blitz the League, which is American football. I don't know what the abbreviation of that is. I can't remember. American football, similar to Madden and things, but not as big, not as good. It's just like a standalone, like pure football would be, compared to FIFA or Pro Evolution Soccer. And I have no clue about American football. Similar to playing the Madden games, I have no idea how to play this, so I've hardly played it at all. Again, gameplay in the bottom, just so you can see what it's like. A game that I have played quite a bit of though, not yet completed because this is a long game, is Blue Dragon. I think there's like maybe 3 or 4 discs in here for this game. And this is a nice RPG. It's an Xbox 360 exclusive. I'm a big RPG fan. I used to play World of Warcraft for a lot. I just played it for like 8 years, which is a long time. And during that time I wouldn't really play Xbox or anything like that much. I would just basically stick to WoW or stick to Xbox 360. I didn't go through phases of going through both at the same time. So that's why I haven't really completed many of these games that I have. But Blue Dragon is a good RPG. It's an Xbox 360 exclusive, so you can't play this on anything else. And it is a very good game should you wish to pick it up. Another game I haven't really got around to playing that much of, but I did start and just got bored of it, was Bodycount. It's like an arcade first-person shooter. So you've got loads of weapons, you've got loads of people to kill and things, you get like skills, you can kill people in a different way, and you get combos and points and things like that during the campaign. And I didn't really think it was that great as an original idea, but it's not particularly good. Maybe what about my voice is getting a bit weird there, sorry. Maybe to have as an extra, like in Call of Duty 4, where they have the arcade cheat mode, which you can play afterwards and get points for. But that, no, as an actual game, just no. So that's not particularly good. Borderlands, this is the Game of the Year edition, so this features the 4 DLCs for Borderlands, which is the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned, Mad Moxie's Underdome Riot, the Secret Armory of General Knox, and Claptrap's New Robot Revolution. So I haven't actually played the Borderlands series too much on 360, but I have completed the first 2 on PC. Because I was playing them with friends at university in my 2nd year, I think, with my housemates. So I've only got to I'm only level 22, I think, on Borderlands, the first one, on 360, but I have completed it on, well, completed most of it apart from the DLC on PC, and Borderlands is a great series for any RPG shooter lover. Borderlands 2, similarly, haven't played too much of this. I've only done like the first area, I would say. Can't remember what it's called, where you're with Claptrap, where you help him, etc. To get off the planet. That's the only thing I've done on Borderlands 2 on Xbox 360, but again on PC I have played and completed most of this, which means that I'm actually looking to complete all of it on Xbox 360 before I start playing the pre-sequel. I have done the first couple of missions just on Xbox 360 to test it, make sure it works, and it is a good game. The graphics have been improved. The playstyle is just typical standard Borderlands, which is just great. So Borderlands is a great series should you wish to pick up a game and you haven't. If you haven't played Borderlands, then I don't know what's wrong with you, to be honest. Everyone's played Borderlands. Brian Lara International Cricket 2007 though, I don't think many people have played, and I haven't really played much myself. I am not a big sports fan, so games like Blitz the League, this one, Madden, FIFA, etc. I might own them, but I don't really play them. They're just because they get cheap, because they are graded by year. For example, if it says 2007, in 2009 it's going to be like 75% off what the original price was. So this may have been like £40 brand new, probably more like 30, and then a couple of years later it's going to be like a few pounds. A couple of years after that it's going to be like 50p. So when it comes to buying sports games, they are just, oh, I'm sorry, Neo. They're great ways to just boost your collection pretty fast. I'm going through these quite fast actually. This is because my camera keeps turning off. Brink. Oh, Brink. Third person. No, it's not third person. It's kind of third person. First person shooter. Was supposed to be hyped to be one of the most anticipated games of the year, which was like 2011. But it wasn't. It was kind of bad. Not many people played it really. It kind of tanked a bit. So now it's just really cheap that you can buy. It's an alright game. Some of the achievements are easy, some of them are hard. The campaign is weird because you can play from either the goodies or the baddies, depending on, that's just like simple terms there. And then there's like what if missions, and there's like other things you can do as well. But it's not that great. There are times where you rely too much on the AI if you're playing alone, and they never really step up, so you can get stuck on the same mission over and over and over just because the AI isn't good enough to carry on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my camera off because it keeps turning off by itself, and then I will turn it back on, and then we'll carry on for the rest of this. So I'll edit this bit out and everything should be done. So after Brink then we have Bulletstorm, another game that I haven't completed. Most of the games in my collection I haven't completed, and that's either because I haven't got around to playing them properly or I get bored of them. Bulletstorm is one of the games that I just got bored of. It gets very repetitive. Campaign isn't particularly good. It's just really a really violent shooter, and that's all it has going for it. It's just the most violent, well, I'd say most violent at the time when this was released, probably one of the most violent games there were. And it's not that good, that's the only thing. So if you like violent games, you probably like it, but if you're looking for campaign games, you know, you're looking for story and plot, that's not what Bulletstorm has to offer. Now this is probably one of the, I say, rarer games in my collection. It's just uncommon. You don't really see this too often anymore. And this is Rockstar Games' Bully. Now this is like similar to Grand Theft Auto, but it's based at a school, as a boarding school, and you are 15-year-old Jimmy Hopkins, and you start off as the new kid at this boarding school, and then you become the bully. So this boarding school is for like delinquents or boys that have been expelled from other schools, so they're notorious for their bad behaviour, and this school, you know, tries to rehabilitate them, make them good students. But you start off as the baddie, the new kid, and you have to get to the top pretty much, and that's Bully. So that's pretty uncommon now. You hardly see it in store or on eBay or anything, so I'm quite glad to have that in my collection. Burnout Paradise is, I think this is the first racing game we've come across so far in the collection videos, and I used to love Burnout on PlayStation 2. I had them all, so Revenge, Takedown, 1 and 2, I think, then it changed. I can't really remember all the titles. I used to love them. I got this first on PS3. This is the first racing game that I had that was open world. I know a couple of Need for Speeds have done it now. I think Need for Speed Most Wanted is open world, and by that is, I mean that you can just drive around like Forza Horizon, and then you can choose when you want to pick up missions, and that's good. It gives you freedom just to explore, just to drive, rather than have to race and things. So that's a pretty good game. Now this is why I wanted to do a longer video, or just more games, so I'm probably rushing through a couple of them there, because I wanted to get through all of the Call of Duties in this part before part 3. I didn't want to have half of them in part 2 and then half of them in part 3, because, you know, I want it to continue nicely. So Call of Duty 2 is the first one we have here. I do have Call of Duty 1, I think, as part of one of the collector's editions, or free, like the DLCs codes in one of the games that should download it. I think I do, I can't really remember. So this is Call of Duty 2, World War 2 again, similar to Call of Duty 3, and it's an easy 1000G, but it's not particularly fun. The graphics are bad. You know, this was released in 2005, so this is one of the first games on 360. Especially one of the first games on PS3, if it was even released for PS3. I'm not sure if it was. I think maybe Call of Duty 3 was the first one for PS3. But it's an alright game. It's just a standard Call of Duty, nothing special. I don't actually have Call of Duty 3 that is working. I do have one that's not working, but again, I don't count that as part of my collection. So the next one we have here is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, which was my favourite, still is my favourite Call of Duty to date, just because I loved the way that it was just innovative in the fact that it just deviated from World War II. A lot of games were doing World War II over and over, like Call of Duty did it to death pretty much. You had Medal of Honor doing it, and then when Modern Warfare came out, it was just great. Loved this. It's the first game, well, one of the first games I got on PlayStation 3, and it's the first Call of Duty that I played to Prestige 10 online max level. And I think I had a playtime of like 24 days on PS3 for Call of Duty. Like I was in the top 50,000, I think, for score without hacking or anything like that. I never hacked. So Call of Duty 4. World at War, so Call of Duty 5, if we're doing it by numbers, so I'll count them out and say their names as well. So Call of Duty 5, World at War. We'll go back to World War 2. You know, I didn't really like that. Don't like World War 2 as such, so that was a big down point for this game. Nazi Zombies was like the only good thing about this game, but I'm not really a fan of Nazi Zombies in the sequels. So here Call of Duty World at War was good. Knights of Zombies campaign was a bit meh. Flamethrowers and everything was good, but I didn't like World at War, like I said. You've got some new kill streaks from Call of Duty 4, which were just one UAV, then you had a missile, I think. Haven't played it for so long. No, UAV, an airstrike, and then helicopter. I think you got attack dogs in this, which spiced it up a bit, but you didn't get too much choice. I can't really remember because I haven't played it for ages. But it was an okay game. It wasn't particularly special. However, when Modern Warfare 2 came out, this was an amazing game. Not as good as Call of Duty 4 because, it's just the sequel, and nothing as good as the sequel because the sequel just lays out for everything else. But this was great. Tactical nukes, having your own kill streaks, AC-130s, Pavlos, that the AC-130 and things that you can control. That was great. It just gave you more options for the online. Spec Ops was good as well. It gave you something to do with co-op. Campaign was amazing, so coming back and things. But great game, not as good as Call of Duty 4 though. Then we get to Black Ops. That was 6. Modern Warfare 2 was 6. Black Ops is 7. And this was good as well, but I didn't particularly like the fact that it's not old. It's old, but it's new. If you know that, if that kind of makes sense. It's got the timeline of being old, but it's got newer weapons and things. You got the helicopters and stuff they didn't have in 2, 3, and World at War to go through. So the campaign was a bit better. You had zombies again, which it was okay. Again, I don't like zombies. I don't buy any of the DLC for zombies and things. So Black Ops was good, not as good as Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare, but better than World at War. This doesn't really say too much, put that over there. Then we've got Modern Warfare 3. This is going to be a steelbook. Again, the Modern Warfare series was one of my favourites. This was actually when I first got my HD PVR, my Hauppauge HD PVR, and I actually started making YouTube videos on this. It was on a different channel, an older channel, not this one. This is when I first started out, and it was good. I loved playing it. Online was great, campaign was great, Spec Ops missions were good. The DLC that gave you extra Spec Ops missions was good as well as giving you online maps, but again, not good as the others because it's just sequels. Black Ops 2, however, was much better than Black Ops because it went to new. It was more futuristic than the Black Ops, so I don't know why they decided to do that, but they did, and it was a good move. Zombies, again, in it, so if you're a zombies fan, it was good for you. It wasn't really good for me because I didn't really like zombies. However, multiplayer was amazing because I absolutely loved the competitive play in ranked. I don't know why they didn't bring it back for anything else, but having ranked play for Call of Duty was just great because I am a really competitive player. I played League of Legends and StarCraft, which are based on leagues, and Black Ops 2, I think I was in the top league. I can't remember what it was called. I think I was like Diamond or something like that. I was quite high up. I was pretty good on ranked play. Not to hoot my own trumpet or whatever the expression is, but I was good at the time. I'm crap now, but I was good at the time. Now we've got Call of Duty Ghosts Steelbook as well, because I've got hardened editions for Ghost and Modern Warfare 3, and this was okay. I've got videos of this on my channel at the moment if you're interested in finding those somewhere, and it's different from Modern Warfare. It's not the Modern Warfare series anymore, but it's still Modern Combat, and it just wasn't as good as the Modern Warfare series. So we've got 2 games left in this series, and it's the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now this was good because it had a lot of new features that the other games didn't include. Like, for example, on the online, you could customize your character a lot more than you could in Ghosts. You had your Evo suit, which allowed more maneuverability. You could add extra things onto that, which you didn't have that at all in Ghosts. And then you started getting loot systems. So you had like boxes, which you can get weapons, which you could temporarily have for like a few days, or new armor and things for your character, which you could have for a couple of days. And that was good. but the campaign and things was just a bit samey. It was just easy to complete. It was still enjoyable, the campaign, but online everything eventually just became the same old Call of Duty, which, you know, fans love, but it doesn't really offer too much, so it's not really anything different from the other games. And then finally we have Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which was released obviously last November, and I think it's Future Warfare that's coming this November. And this is terrible to get on Xbox 360. Do not get this on Xbox 360 if you are looking to get Black Ops 3. A lot of people still buy this on Xbox 360 on eBay and things. Just don't. Save up for an Xbox One. Get it on Xbox One if you want it that bad. It is terrible on Xbox 360. I got this when it came out. I pre-ordered it same time as Rise of the Tomb Raider, and just absolutely terrible. At the time, I didn't realise there wasn't any campaign, so I was just looking to do the campaign. And then when I realised there wasn't any campaign, obviously that leads to multiplayer and zombies. Multiplayer servers were terrible. You were just lagging all the time. You couldn't do anything. I think I played about maybe 15 games, and in that time I had lag in every single one of them. Zombies, try playing that. I could only play it alone. I tried doing matchmaking for that. I couldn't find anyone else to play with for some reason. No one else would connect to me for some reason. So absolutely terrible to get on 360. But it's apparently I've heard that it's good on Xbox One and PS4 because of the fact that you have campaign there, which you don't have on 360, which isn't too hard to port. The port on this is terrible as well. The graphics are absolutely horrible. But I won't get started with that. It's just multiplayer zombies. It may have improved since when I played it. I haven't picked it up. I'll try obviously again for the gameplay for this video, but terrible. I've had a bad experience. I'm not going to endorse it at all. And that's all of the games for this episode. It's been slightly longer because I wanted to get through all of the Call of Duties. Like I said, I've got all of them apart from Call of Duty 3, which isn't working. Next time we're going to carry on with Seas. This was just the start, and we're getting further into this series. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, like I said, check out part 2. This is part 2. Check out part 1. And I will see you soon for part 3.